중요한 문제 저에서 뭐 담배가도 더 그렇죠. 그래서 다른 자는 그게 다 최주가 아니다는데 내가 다른 거 저시 내가 핑계 대고 있어가지고
So at the present, we have achieved this favorable condition for the situation, which is free from all the negative conditions or the unfavorable conditions, and we're fully qualified and have all the positive conditions to engage into this spiritual.
어디 인간은 가서 다 튕기도 봐 대신 이게 선배관을 하는다 누구나 그때 가서 다 다시 실시가 다시 그 삼는 다시 들어졌어.
So in other words, if we have full of unfavorable conditions and we are free from all these favorable conditions, then we don't have choice of our practice.
나 튕기 산다 탄도 열대 얘네는 말하고 그래 가서 제가 튕기 산다 탄도 열대 얘네는 말하고 그래 제 두고 전에는 봐 봐. 그렇죠. 기부 전에는 내가 저를 샤스었어. 내가 한 번쯤 아신 거
At the present, we do have all these favorable conditions, which is qualified, to engage into the practices. But situation where if we are, terribly in bad situation or terribly full of obstacles, then there's danger of leaving our practice.
어디 인상하는 데는 평소에 전설로 되게 똑바로 가지고 그 맞게 바람 얘기한 데가 정말 시기 맞는 거죠.
So that is because without having realized the qualities of the perfect human rebirth, and or even if we have understood that, then we haven't meditated upon them properly.
다 던져든지 그 똑바로 깨는 때도 강한 때도 있는데 서마서서 최고 마셔서 이제 기부전에 양다 기부전에 니고 그래 삼성도 동네 매도 돌아도 있었는데 기부전에 최대 쇼마도 되지.
So if we gain the realizations of the perfect human rebirth, then even if one is facing all these difficulties, one will not leave our practice, and even if one is even if one is enjoying, our life or a very pleasant situation, and one thinks that, these things does not have any essence, and then reflecting upon them, then we will continue our practice.
나도 내가 그냥 이나야보다 더 처리하고 그게 더 가서가 상바야고 다 그봐 당겨 통계 상면 내가 돌아오면 내가 다시 집에 들어오고 이나야는 처리하고 그게 내가 그게 최고로 나간다 그거 지하가 세도는 처리하고 그게 굉장히 되어야 하는 거 최고로 시야 맞는 거죠. 네, 나도 내가 좋아지고
Then the another fall is that even though having understood all this, perfect human rebirth and how rare it is to achieve and so on, but when we always distracted or we will first of all always engaging into occur all these, requirement conditions to engage into the practice, then we are always unable to engage into the main body of the practice.
That
is because of the faults of not having meditated upon death and impermanence properly. So, in other words, if one had the wish not to waste this perfect human rebirth, and on top of that, adding the meditation of death and impermanence, especially concerning about the futures and so forth, then our practice will become more pure.
on that any said the digital showing don't drain go to not didn't show on
Otherwise, if one's practice is very much involved or influenced by this very life's pleasure, then that is under the influence of it will be concerned. It does not become pure Dharma.
whatever you done, but send it the digital mandate check. The Ginsman Pendula Bahani, Panada
So if one's practice is not under the influence of this very life's pleasure or the advent of concern, then that means one's meditation upon the impermanent is pure.
then the Ginsman Royal began Tagas around the bigger jig. Tagas together around the mission and man being reality and Tagas Bakatu in the James Campbell.
So when we talk about going to the future lives, if it is just traveling from one place to another, or going with this body itself, then there's not much problem of it.
And then around the melody in the bigger joke and tongue Mangola Pandaya, that working very in and do it,
and then if we have the confidence that this very life or this body will last for a while, then still there's no danger of it.
What's saying that Pandelu in the animal around the bigger you mango to bring it together, the Cosmos of
So this very life or this body, this human body which we have now, is the result of having created many different causes in the past.
That in the young George, my aunt and I are around to the choosing the witness to you never do.
So, to have such an opportunity again future, if one has the confidence that one have created enough to produce such an effect or such a result, then it's okay.
That's a very good person of time, and
So, by considering or by dipping down in one's mind, if one does not find such a cause that one has created to produce such an effect, then one has to be careful about it. One has to take care about it.
What in done because that you to Yaga and it, and the you are connected with us now. Keep showing a sharing into the park, we know, you to Yaga. Who you risk?
So to create or to accumulate the cause to produce such a result or such an effect, then the causes are, one should practice or engage into the practices of the renunciation that were explained in the simple capable beings part.
On that you would show a bear, Tango to the Yawasango, Hasolata, send the part, send the now, send the non shape. Well. And
then, especially meditating upon the particular suffering of the three law realms and then general sufferings of the cycle of existence, then, the thought to seek liberation becomes more and more stronger, and one will avoid the clinging at the appearances of this life.
Sunday and I should say, show and what on the Jewish women enjoy what around the deserts as a around the what things that what is things that you're holding on to also that that's
still if one's desire or intention is very much directed towards this very life's pleasure and happiness, that means one does not have acquainted one's mind with the practice of renunciation of the law capable beings path.
And the Benjamin of the Granny Castle, send the Nation Dortuna. Send the Nation Dortuna, because the conservative, which our conservative, the Nation Dortuna, the Nation Dortuna, who's not to all of Kuno, that shows into what is.
If one is able to abandon and clinging and attachment towards this very life, then whatever activities that we perform through our body, spirit, and mind becomes fruitful for our future lifetimes to come.
确实呢，他这个身体下的，今天成为偏见了吧？那偏头呀，这个人最主要这类呀，那确实有的。
So when we talk about Dharma practice or spiritual practice, means like abandoning this very life's purpose and creating cause to have a result as happiness, at least for the future lifetime.
他身体看他也难的，年难的，每次吃到送他那忙些挺啥的，身体来几偏把做把的，来几偏把呢，来几偏把做的苦呀，吃不了嘛的，推嘛因为吃个那个怕些嘛，我就有的，来几偏把做都得那呀，我得对了应该快做，得了样那快做，来几偏把做的对了让我们，那我那个推嘛因为吃个怕些嘛，我学有的。
So, this very life, whether it is successful or not successful, half is already finished, half is already passed away. And then even that half, the remaining part of half, we are not quite sure when that actually comes, because it's not a kind of fixed, even though it is determined for a certain period, but there's a lot of obstacles and interferences can occur, and we may be dead before the actual time comes.
다가 나시를 다 저와 저들이 하고 있는데 저와 치면 돼야 미저런데 그냥 탐네 내가 양 내가 상고 판바 좋아하는 양 라냐 판단 나시 전에 그래요 그 양라냐 이것이 맞나 만들어 왔냐 지고 여기서.
So in the same way, even if we achieve such a state in the future, then still, the karma to experience this kind of existence is extinguished. Then again, we have to go through similar situations. Therefore, if one is able to make free completely from the entire cycle of existence, then one will have more confidence and more, more relaxed. So, in order to be free from the sufferings of the three realms of the cycle of existence or the entire cycle of existence, one has to develop the strong wish to get out of the cycle of existence or wish to be free from the cycle of existence.
So, in
order to generate such a thought, wishing to be free from the suffering of three realms or the cycle of existence, then first of all we need to know the nature of suffering of the three realms.
At
present, we do not know even the levels of suffering that we have in the cycle of existence. So it is very important to know even those levels of suffering at the first or at the beginning. So, then on top of that, if you know the suffering is a suffering and suffering is a fault, or suffering is a disadvantage, something which we do not wish, then we develop the wish to be free from them. So in the similar way, the example that if the bird always swims in the pond or in the ocean, then at one stage, if the ocean has become frozen or ice, then the bird knows or learns that cannot swim anymore in that ocean, and because it's frozen, then we'll try to move in another different places. In a similar way, if we learn the cycle of existence, the nature of suffering, which is something we do not wish, is unbearable, then we look another place of liberation, and the state which is free from this kind of existence.
What's in the so unbelievable that's something a call and the Kazo, Kawachibala and the Kaza Lamla and the Kazoda, Lamalava from the Yatini, Yamber Punta, it was come down.
So, in order to get freedom from the cycle of existence, then we need to train in the path, or we need to practice on the path. And the paths are such as the three training, and we have to engage into the practices of the three training.
But you know, you would
So among these three trainings, and on the practices of the middle incapable beings path, the practice of morality is the most essential practice.
But you would drink it and the shoot somebody manner, I was
So if you don't have a strong renunciation that you can find from the middle capable beings path, then it is hard, or that becomes an obstacle, great obstacle to surpass into the Mahayana path.
What things are all the and the or the Songo to Winter around the Gulia, the city, and the lock had in it, the Hazoka. The Ninja Shushimba, and it's a mass and the Ninja Killer.
So if one has a strong understanding that the oneself is facing unbearable situation and having had to go through this undesirable situation in cycle of existence, then later it easily able to develop a compassion for other sentient beings.
The Ninja Shushimba Jana, and Ninja Shushimba Yana, the Jinjamala, then the Pasam Shushimba.
So, having generated a very strong sense of compassion upon all sentient beings, and continuing or carrying on such a compassion within one's mind, often on, then induced by that compassion, then one will generate extraordinary attitude, a proper sense of extraordinary attitude.
But the Nebel Hasan the Bernie shooting what you never. So then, on the basis of that, if one is able to fully develop that extraordinary attitude, then it is quite easy for us to generate the altruistic attitude or the bodhicitta. That's something to be around the German in the missing in your temper in the so the person should.
So whether one is developing the spontaneous bodhicitta or the creative bodhicitta, it entirely depends on how strong the extraordinary attitude we have, or we call.
사상 쇼침버지 연안에 전적을 생각해서 긍정달이야 산재 공방 도의 인생에 아주 선물이야 본도 돼야 돼.
So if we have fully developed sense of extraordinary attitude or the unusual attitude, then we can actually seek the enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings.
사상 쇼침은 나는 산재 공방 도의 인생에 아니라 안개가 남아 태명을 남고대
So if you do not, in other words, if you do not have the unusual attitude, that is strong, then if you wish to, attain enlightenment, there's danger of always falling into the solitary realization path.
그래서 기본적으로 생계인지 생계의 파송을 알아요.
Because the distinguishing factor between Mahayana and Hinayana is that of the Mahayana mind generation, or the bodhicitta.
어쩌다 생각하는 그 파송되는
Therefore, since we always have been hearing about the extraordinary attitude or the unusual attitude, I just have to remind you, but do not have to go into detail. For some, without even reminding, maybe they might have spontaneously in their mind.
가셔야 트렌드이나 제리는 전서던 그랬어.
So for some, if it is forgotten, then I'm just trying to remind you.
어디인가 한다. 네, 가지고 있으면 마다 주마다 상마다는 그 정도 알고 있어요.
So please develop the motivation, at least generating the creative sense of bodhicitta or altruistic attitude.